Hi, this is Sally Morgan, physical therapist, craniosacral therapist, and Tellington T-Touch practitioner for animals and people. This is Tristan, he's a Corgi, and we're here for an episode of Conversations with a Corgi. Do you have anything to say? Sometimes. Hi, Danny. Welcome from South Dakota. So today, I'm deviating a bit from what my plan had been because I was looking down my things I need to talk about, and some of them are quite timely. And it's now been about a week since the Queen lost her last Corgi. So this episode is dedicated to Queen Elizabeth. This is the hand-waving queen that you put in the window, and the sunshine goes to her solar purse, and then she does the queen wave. This particular queen is the Derby edition. This is what she wears to the Derby in England, and I love her because she's blue, and look at her great hat. And then, of course, you can't have a hand-waving queen without a head-bobbing Corgi, so he also has a solar panel, and he rocks his head side to side. And, of course, when you have the queen, you must have 2 or 3 head-bobbing Corgis. So we have a whole windowsill full of head-bobbing Corgis and a waving queen, and I feel lucky to have them. And especially now when I'm thinking about the Queen having lost her last Corgi, Willow, in the last couple of weeks, well, a week and a half ago. And this rocked the Corgi world, of course. And lots of other people that have British breeds, such as Cavaliers and, you know, some of the hunting dogs from England, the bulldog people. There's a lot of British breeds of dogs that we have, a lot of the herding breeds, border collies. It touched us to have the Queen, who's 92, lose a dog, and her birthday is just around now. They celebrate it at a different time than when it actually occurs, because the Queen is wants to have her country be able to celebrate her birthday, so they do it when the weather's more pleasant than when her actual birthday is. So it's a very sad thing for the Queen to have lost her Corgi, and people say, why did the Queen at 92 decide to stop having Corgis? Well, the same reason a lot of us make hard choices as we age about our dogs. The Queen did not want to leave that last Corgi here when she wasn't here to oversee him and take care of him and make sure that he lived in the style that she had preferred for her Corgis. She got her first Corgi when she was a teenager, and his name was Dookie, and that was because he was a gift from a duke. And then after that, she got a Corgi named Susan, and all of the Corgis since then have been descendants of Susan. And the Queen isn't dogless. She does have some Corgi Dachshund mixes. 2 of those are left. I think they bred with her sister's Doxies. So she still has. About that phone interruption, the Queen has said that she doesn't like her Corgis to have too many rules because she follows so many rules and so much protocol. So the Corgis get a little bit of leeway. So as a result of that, they're a tad naughty. But, you know, Corgis are Corgis. They want to do what they want to do anyway. There are reports that they aren't terribly well housebroken. They do get individual great meals. And she's had some Corgis that we have known have been a little nippy with some of the royal family and guests, but that is still, you know, she is the Queen, and the Corgis love her, and she loves them. And so, you know, you can treat your dog how you want to treat your dog. And let's face it, any of us with a Corgi know that if we are not comfortable with a person, our Corgis get a lot more snarky with them than if we like somebody. And they get very easily excited about things. And she loves to spend time with her Corgi. She traveled with them at different points in her life. And the Corgis have stood by her through thick and thin. And it is a sad day. Like, I can't imagine a day in my life without a Corgi. But I am so fortunate to have a family of pet-loving people. And Tristan has some friends who love him very much, and I will love all of my Corgis that I have. So I don't know that I have to ever go a day in my life without a Corgi. But the Queen reminds us that as we age, we do have to make plans about what's going to happen to our dogs when we're not here anymore. It is so important to include that information in your will and to make sure you detail what that person is going to be doing. A friend of mine actually is a lawyer, and she specializes in making wills for people with extensive acreage and horse farms to make sure that their horses and their family animals will be well cared for when they're gone, including setting up trust funds for them to have especially with a horse, to have the means to take care of them. And she has a pretty strong practice up and down the East Coast because this is a concern for a lot of people. I mean, as much as we think our animals don't last as long as we'd like them, sometimes we don't last as long as they need us to. And this is not just something you need to attend to in your older years. You need to have things in place for your dogs and cats at any point in your life so that if something happens to you, your dogs will be cared for. And that's important to know. I mean, a lot of us assume our family members will take care of our dogs, and certainly my sister had so many at one point. I don't know, my mom would have kept them. But a friend of mine, her sister flat out said, if you go and I'm stuck with your dogs, they're going to the shelter. And my friend was horrified, but glad that she knew this, because now she can make arrangements with friends to take her dogs and to care for them the way that she would like them to be cared for. And of course, my sister knows that between my mom and me and her daughter, her dogs will continue to be cared for as well. So one of the other things I wanted to talk about, if you are a fan of the Queen and her Corgis, I have to recommend this book, Dog Diaries. It's a kid book, and it's called Susan. And on the cover is this dog that's supposed to be a Corgi. Does not look very much like a Corgi to many Corgi people, but it does look a bit like Susan. And some of the original Corgis were not as white on the ends as the Corgis we have now. So this story is loosely based on a lot of fact, and it is about the Queen during the years that she has her dog Susan, from when she's a teenager and gets married and has her first baby. And it's a lovely little story, and you learn a lot of the inside things that you might not know about the Queen and her Corgis by reading this book. And of course, the book has gotten a lot of information from articles online, articles in Vanity Fair. There's been a couple about the Queen's Corgis in Vanity Fair. And of course, we all know that Corgis are important to the Queen. And one of my great delights in life is the Buckingham Palace gift shop online and in real life, because they have a whole page dedicated to Corgis and Corgi things in honor of the Queen. And I am so happy to be able to shop there for a variety of Corgi items, and they change all the time. And I will be sad when the Buckingham Palace store no longer has Corgi items, but hopefully they will carry on for quite a while. So it is a sad day that we have lost the last royal Corgi, but the Queen, as she has carried on so many years of leadership and being the Queen of her country, has also carried on a tradition of being a Corgi mom for well over 80 years. And that's a pretty remarkable thing. I think I've been a Corgi mom for like 35 years. So I don't know if I can live long enough to be a Corgi mom as long as the Queen has been. But certainly we all love our dogs, and the Queen does remind us of that with her great love of her horses and her dogs. So I just wanted to take some time today to honor the Queen on the loss of her Corgi. And I actually have something I wanted to show you, which I forgot to get. So Tristan, take over for a minute while I go get that. Wait right there, honey. He's barely in the screen. All right, honey. So one of the great things I have that I'm delighted to have, sorry, Tristan, I know you're falling off my legs a little bit, is from my grandmother, who dreamed of going to England, and eventually she was able to go to England, and she collected dollhouses and miniatures, and so she went for the Queen's Silver Jubilee. So when my mom was cleaning out her house in New Jersey and getting ready to move in with my sister, many things that she had from my grandmother showed up. And one of them was something that I am delighted to have, which is this model from the Queen's Silver Jubilee. The Queen is in the cart, and look at the end We have a little Corgi, not known to be a coach dog, really a Dalmatian would be where he is, and he's not in the cart with the Queen, but there is a Corgi on this model. And when I saw this, when I was rooting through my mom's basement, I was delighted because I don't think I had a Corgi yet during the Queen's Silver Jubilee in 1977. Nope, I didn't get a Corgi for about 8 more years. So, of course, this has been something I've treasured in my memory, and when I was able to find it, I was delighted. So, let's take a few minutes today to honor the Queen for being such a good Corgi mom for so many years. I'm going to do a heart hug and just think about the Queen and send gratitude to her for doing so much for this breed of dog that I, too, and many others love so much. So thanks for joining us today. We'll end with a little Corgi music. I'll tell you, this Corgi music gets a lot of comment, good and bad. And I have to have music so people have time to join on Facebook Live. And it has to be something original because Facebook won't let you use pre-recorded music without permission. And how would they know? But I tried to use Peter Cottontail one spring for an Easter broadcast, and they bumped it. So I play the flute, so we have flute music from me, because that's what I can get that I have permission to use. And you don't want to hear my piano playing. I know, you're kind of dropping. We don't usually face this way, honey. So everybody have a great day. It's still gray and rainy here in New England, but my grass is greening up, and hopefully my helper, Brian, will be back in the next week or two because things are getting pretty rugged out there. You love the coach. I know. I'm so lucky to have that. I've never even seen another one. So thanks for joining us today. We'll see you back here tomorrow on Friday for another episode of Conversations with a Corgi Who's Falling. And I have a whole list of topics here. There's a couple of other things that have happened this week that I think I need to address. All right, we'll see you soon. Have a great day, everybody.